Located in the D.C. metropolitan area, Lorton, Virginia is home to 20,268 residents and is the 12th most diverse region in the nation. This community has also been burdened with multiple counts of environmental racism over the decades because of its majority-minority population. From 1910 to 2001, Lorton was home to thousands of prisoners from Washington, D.C. Prisoners provided the labor that tilled the fields, ran the dairy, poultry ranch, slaughterhouse, and harvested the crops. At its peak, Lorton was home to more than 10,000 men and women convicted of crimes ranging from simple drug possession to multiple murders. Throughout the prison's existence in the 20th century, numerous waste facilities were placed close by. These included 3 landfills, a sewage sludge incinerator, and a trash incinerator. In 1985, methane migrated from the county's landfill and entered the plumbing system, where several blasts eventually killed 1 inmate and critically burned another and forced the prison to be quickly evacuated. This event was just one of many that showed clear evidence of environmental racism. The situation was further exacerbated because the victims are physically trapped next to the pollution source at all times. People in the surrounding area, although financially trapped, will have been able to leave for certain periods of time and minimize their exposure to these pollutants. The U.S. Department of Energy even admitted that a minority inmate prison population constitutes an environmental justice community that could be disproportionately impacted in violation of the Civil Rights Act. In 2001, the Lorton prison was closed and a number of new housing developments were built in the area directly surrounding the former prison site. The new construction was erected adjacent to the trash incinerator, known as the I-95 Energy Resource Recovery Facility. The housing developments are mainly made up of color, with the closest neighborhood to the incinerator being 26% white, 32% Asian, 31% black, 8% Hispanic, and 5% multiracial. The I-95 Energy Resource Recovery Facility, operating as Covanta Fairfax Inc., began commercial operation in June 1990. This facility is 22.9 acres large and, as previously stated, is located in Lorton, Virginia. The facility processes more than 3,000 tons per day of solid waste for a population of more than 900,000 people in Fairfax County, Virginia. Covanta Fairfax is the 3rd largest trash incinerator in the nation and is the biggest air pollution source in the Fairfax County. This majority-minority community in Lorton, Virginia is endangered with environmental injustices because of their proximity to the incinerator. According to the EPA, the incinerator is solely responsible for 75% of the industrial air pollution in Fairfax County. In 2018, the Lorton landfill permanently closed down, and people needed a place to relocate their trash. Consequently, an increased amount of debris and construction waste was thrown into the incinerator because there were no other local waste disposal options. This increased activity has led to an increased harm being placed on these communities, as potentially noxious construction waste is burned and may worsen the already existing environment challenges. Excluding the environmental costs, incinerators are the most expensive and polluting way to manage waste or to make energy. They are far more polluting than coal power plants and are worse than landfills. They turn trash into toxic air pollution and toxic ash, making for smaller but more toxic landfills. To make the same amount of energy as a coal power plant, trash incinerators release 28 times as much dioxin than coal, 2.5 times as much carbon dioxide, twice as much carbon monoxide, 3.2 times as much nitrogen oxides, 6 to 14 times as much mercury, nearly 6 times as much lead, and 20% more sulfur dioxide. Toxins found in the landfill gases released have been found to cause asthma, cancers, learning disabilities, and reproductive disorders. According to the Energy Justice Network, Covanta has an extensive track record of violations at their facilities across the country. Many are for air pollution violations. They were even once caught and fined for tampering with their emissions monitor to make it seem like their emissions are lower than they really are. Leading into Covanta's incinerator fire back in 2017, the fire started February 2nd and lasted a total of 3 days as it ended February 5th. Several explosions occurred in this multi-level facility, which has exposed its residents to a larger amount of air pollution. In an interview, Dan Stork, the Mount Vernon District Supervisor, mentioned how important it was that the Covanta set up and implement some improved methods of handling trash that will ensure that this never happens again.
That we've got a chance to frankly do this a little bit better this time. We can, I think, as part of the restoration of this facility, I'm looking for Covanta to step up and do something more so that we don't have an event like this in the future. And I think it's that opportunity for all of us to do a little bit better. This plant is obviously more than 20 years old, and it's a chance to maybe upgrade it and improve it, and also continue to provide what I think is a far superior way of handling trash, which is to burn it rather than dispose it in landfills.
Going forward, waste-to-energy incineration facilities will likely become more popular because of their compact nature. They can more easily be situated to serve surrounding populations effectively without transporting garbage for long distances and are easier on the eyes and nose than landfills. Their ability to transform trash into energy is essential not only for the surrounding energy grids, but also in a world that is threatening to drown in trash. In 2015, the EPA reported that the United States produced a staggering 262 million tons of trash while sending more than half of it to a landfill. Because incineration is the most direct path forward for dealing with waste disposal for the time being, it is essential that the new construction projects and renovations of any such sites are accompanied with complementary policies that will better solve air quality problems that are often associated with trash incineration. Investing in more jobs at waste processing plants, educational recycling, and composting projects will be fundamental in the future. It is essential that a greater level of secondary sorting takes place when trash is collected to ensure that e-waste, plastic, and other noxious materials are not a part of the burn pile. This will allow the plants to run more efficiently and minimize the amount of garbage that is toxic when burned at elevated temperatures. A greater effort needs to be made throughout the county to educate people about the importance of waste reduction beyond reduce, reuse, and recycle. Programs that emphasize the importance of extending the life cycle of items where possible, encourage smart consumption, and reusable products will also do wonders to reduce trash creation. Lastly, a countywide initiative to promote composting could be revolutionary both to further minimize trash creation, but also as an untapped entrepreneurial venture. Local plant nurseries and farms can make use of the local compost and ensure that food scraps are not going to waste. All of these initiatives will not only result in less trash being created and eventually being burned, it will also minimize the amount of toxic ash that will eventually need to be disposed of in landfills. Going forward, regardless of which policies are implemented and which problems are addressed, it is essential that county and state officials act with more intention in their decision-making processes in the future. It is unconscionable that one community be overburdened with not only 3 landfills but also with an incinerator and a sewage sludge incinerator. Environmental racism will continue to run rampant if communities are excluded from decision making while also being targeted because of their racial demographics. If incineration plants become more commonplace and landfills continue to be built, the people who are affected, if not properly protected, will likely be the most vulnerable among us. As waste is produced by all of us, so should the burden of its disposal be equally shared.